Auburn United Methodist Church story is a little bit like Bishop Webb was talking about when our conferences all merged, and it's somewhat similar. We focused for the first few years of that merge on getting to know each other as family, just knowing who each other were, and we focused a lot of time and energy on that, and we got to a point where we had to move on from that, and we started to hear about this thing called Hand to Plow about 2 years ago, and I really didn't know what to think about it. I'd heard a lot of things, as we all do hear a lot of things, especially about other church growth type programs that maybe have been less than fruitful in the past. But we decided to give it a shot anyway, because why not? And there was a bunch of lay folk from my church that really wanted to hear about what it was all about. So we had 5 laity that signed up, and myself, and we began the process. That first year was a lot of learning, a lot of conversation, a lot of prayer. We were a part of peer learning groups. We would gather, laity would gather, clergy would gather after reading books, discuss them, worship, pray together, discuss, and talk. And after that first year, during that first year, it was really instrumental that we had all of our lay people share their experience with the rest of the congregation in different ways to bring them alongside of them through newsletter articles, on the agenda, administrative board, talking to individuals, and meeting themselves to debrief all of the books and things that we were learning. And after that year, we decided that we had so much momentum and excitement with all that we were learning that we were ready to go to phase 2. And so we applied for phase 2, which is the consultation phase, and that was intense. It was a crazy weekend, but it was all good. Auburn was the first church to go through that process with the consultation, so not only did we have Reverend Bob Farr, who is one of the great church growth gurus in the United Methodist Church, come to our church, which was an amazing gift. We also had about 12 other individuals who were being trained as consultants, so all of our issues got all out on the table for everybody to know.
That's great.
Which was great.
Come and see. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun times.
And you handled it with grace.
Thank you. It was helpful to know that a lot of the people that were being trained, the other clergy that were being trained, all said, wow, I don't know what I would say. I don't know what my lay people would say. We're doing a lot of the same things you're doing. So it was nice to know in some respects that we weren't alone. And I never felt judged by anybody. It was a great process, actually. During the consultation, staff, key leaders, the entire congregation was able to give their opinion and talk to the consultants. Their voices were heard. And after gleaning all that information, the consultants wrote a report. And they shared the strengths of our church, the concerns of the church, and different prescriptions or recommendations that our church could take for the next step to grow and to revitalize. Because our church was not in a bad place. We weren't by any means in a horrible place. We just had remained kind of stagnant, and we needed some vitalization. So we heard the report. We were given some wonderful strengths and some areas of concern. It was almost as if they were able to hold a mirror up to our church. There were things that we knew, but we didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was really wonderful to hear that. Took a while to process it. Once we heard the recommendations, which had to do with our worship, had to do with our church structure, had to do with our finances, and leadership and a pathway to ministry for folks, after hearing those recommendations, we had to vote on them with a charge conference after about a month of discernment and prayer. And so after a month, we gathered and had a charge conference. And that's what's unique about Hand to Plow, is that there's an accountability piece that's really important. And so now we are held accountable to our district superintendent, to one another in this process. And we voted and unanimously accepted the document, which that month was a bit crazy, but it was freeing at the end. So we've begun work. We started in January. We went straight with number one, and we have literally removed posts in the church.
Wow.
Choir lofts, pulpits, all sorts of things. And not just structurally, but internally as well. There's a leadership class that's being led at our church. It's an 8-month class for all leaders in the class or in the church, and they will make up our leadership in 2015. But becoming a pastor, you have to meet with the Board of Ordained Ministry. And you have to learn all about what that word connectionalism means, and we all kind of hear it, but I actually am experiencing it hands-on with individuals in this process. Our district superintendent, Dick Barton, you've been wonderful and supportive. We have a coach, Reverend Jeff Long, who has walked beside me and the rest of the congregation. We've had Aaron, who has spent a lot of time with us, and we are so thankful. We had Reverend Jan Rowell come and lead us in a whole day of prayer during our Sunday worship as we began this process, and Bishop Webb has been extremely supportive as well, and so just so thankful to have gone through this process. It's not, I don't know if it's right for every church, and I don't know if every church is in the right place to be doing it, but we have learned a lot, and there is now passion and there is excitement for our future. We have a vision and a way to carry out the mission that we all have to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world, and we're just keeping going. So that's where we are right now. We're about halfway through, and it has been life-giving, and the folks at Auburn United Methodist Church have gone through a lot in the last 6 months, and they are to be commended for stepping out and taking these risks, because it's been difficult.